everyone. You can come in and take a seat. We don't need the light on, but I'm going to get it on anyway because of the low lighting on the camera. So. Okay, I'm going to stop only because I don't want to waste a lot more time. Now, you realize that I have hung up a familial picture. Remember that way back in Cancer season, which was June, it was from June 26th through, I want to say, July 17th. So that date range is when we had Zach Callison heal. He was healed from June 26th through July 8th. No. July 10th. July 10th. Then he went away until about the, the 13th. And then on the 14th, he came back and continued to the second part. Now, you've been away for some time from the Edmonton, and we've definitely had some conflicting customs this year. And what we're going to be doing is, I've been waiting since the summertime to compare and put these together. You know that one of the big things about my Minton and all the other Mintons is that we take random things that are very, very different from one another and we put them together. We try to tie them together. So we're going to be tying Just Said Magic and Zach Callison. Of course, we're going to be getting into, what your songs are about when we talk about a very, very interesting cusp time frame, which is from October 19th, I want to say, through October 23rd. That's a very, very tricky time because the sun could change from Libra to Scorpio in, say, October 22nd or October 23rd, sometimes as early as October 21st. So, it can really depend, but it's a very, very interesting, contrast between Libra and Scorpio. We're going to talk about Libra and Scorpio when we get there. Right now we are in Libra season, and if you watch Deborah Silverman, she talks about the moon in Gemini. Now, I also want to bring about another lady for all of you to watch every week. I have been, following her for, the past couple weeks, this week and last week. And you may know who she is. Remember, we listened to a couple of her songs back at the end of July. Leo season. So her name is Colette Billingweed. And one of the things that we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at a poem of a song that I composed, which is her origin. So the story basically talks about, if you're thinking about the aquatic ocean, and if you're thinking about a mermaid giving birth to a child, a baby, which would be Colette Billingweed. And if you're thinking about kind of, because she is a Cancer, and Cancers are also guided very intuitively and very emotionally and spiritually. And this is meant to kind of be a female take off of Mary Did You Know? If you think about the, Christmas song, Mary Did You Know? Do 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 do. That we're gonna walk on water kind of thing. That is going to be, that's kind of a take of what it is off. So in the middle of the ocean, of the sea, there was a mermaid that gave birth to a baby that was very strong, and the nurture of planet Earth, and someone who has been through a lot of scars from her past self, and a survival, based off of kind of talks about the Odyssey a little bit. If you think about Poseidon, the sea god. So it's really, really artistic. Okay, there was like some sort of bug on the window. I think it's on the outside of it. But so that is what the song is going to be about. That is what the poem is going to be about. It is kind of an artistic poem in minor key. Now, I want to talk about what we have kind of done a pattern of this year. So, we started out, if you're thinking about the beginning of the astrological year, with our first separate customary unit, because prior to that, we were dealing a lot with COVID and also Aries. Then, right after that, in late April, we're thinking about late April. So from April 25th through the 30th, we got into Dance Moms. We were watching season 1, which we watched from April 25th through May. I pushed it out for you, May 3rd. All of season 1. I started watching season 2 ahead of time, and remember that Kathy Stein, which you know who she is, she's not here, was here. She was here during that time frame. Then we started watching season 2 of Dance Moms, which lasted all the way up until May 21st. That was the day when every one of you were done with that season. And then we had Jill Vortez. Then remember we had that big, thing with the show and tell day. Remember we went to the headquarters for Taurus season. Now, the end of May wasn't really too eventful, but we did start watching Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition. In June, it was another kind of, it was kind of like the early April. There wasn't a whole lot going on. We did do a couple of things where we had, remember Kimchi Chronicles came here, and we watched Alamelu and all that kind of thing. Mirror Mirror during that Gemini season. Then starting on June 18th, when we got into the cloudy sunny days, when it was just about to be summer, you can remember that that day in particular was kind of headachy and very, very hot. That was the day. That was kind of the dawn of something else that day. We were moving behind. We were taking all the customs that we were dealing with in Taurus season in May with, the dance moms, especially if you think about, Million, Lorraine, and Kelly Highland, which was kind of the old, and now we're moving in to the new. Then we started watching Just That Magic, and then you came along. We had, your concert and everything, and so and then we were reading Everlast, which took, I worked like a snail through that. Then end of July, we didn't, we continued doing Everlast. We had Deborah Silverman come here. You got her book, Colette Bill and Read Again. And we also watched That'll Teach Him, if you can recall, which they came every couple of weeks. Then in August, we then started watching season 3 of Dance Moms. So we watched Chowtalia at the beginning and continued reading Everlast, and also saw season 3 of Anne Shirley, if you can remember. So then, that's when we started watching Dance Moms again. So all the way up to August 23rd, we also watched The Good Place. We took a break, remember, from watching. We just started season 4, and remember I told you all this stuff about Abby's other concert that I didn't promise you. Speaking of which, I had a visitation, which I'm going to tell you about a little bit later. So, then we, got into a new astrological season. We were still watching Good Place, and I started my remote teaching, and at that time I was really, really busy, and I took my priorities off of this mention and put them on the back burner. So then, talking about September, we honored Virgo Woman, as you know. Then Christy Hunt was here. I'm giving you an update from Dance Moms. And have you seen the show? Okay. Okay, so you know what we were doing right now. So, and how many seasons have you seen? Okay, so the first 3 seasons? Okay, wonderful. Yeah, that's completely fine. So, well, I may have been a little contradictory there. It's really ridiculousness. It's really not. You could call Keeping Up Appearances a reality television show. So, completely different customs. So, I hope that you're seeing the contrast of customs here. Let's see here. Then, I'm trying to think. We started 1984, couldn't get into that. We were watching Keeping Up Appearances then that is a big bug on the window. Then continued on through September. Fahrenheit 451 didn't work out. We then started watching season 5. All of you, by now, should be almost done with season 5 of Dance Moms. So, I hope that all of you are caught up with that. So, just tell me how many episodes away are you from that Nationals ending when Abby has her studio in Los Angeles? Okay. Well, that's wonderful. So, season 6 and season 7 are going to be, it's going to be the sequel, to Dance Moms. So, season, season 5 is the transitional season when things were moving out of the old and into the new. So, the old is Pittsburgh Dance Studio, Kelly Highland, Christy, not the Christy, obviously, and then Abby's mother. So the old, part of it. Now we're moving into the new part of it, which is off of the, the dancing, more into Hollywood and LA and all this types of stuff. Now, one song artist that I want to recommend all of you to watch is, her name is, I don't remember her name. But if you put if you put in the song, Dance Moms, We Go On. Remember we sang We Go On at one of our concerts, the Empty Faces, Broken Dreams kind of thing? Okay. So, just put in that and then you'll find a video, of We Go On, just the soundtrack of it, not with the dance. She is from the Bunny Garner custom, which is a custom that is kind of on, in addition to Just That Magic. Her voice is very, very interesting, and I think that you need her, her picture to, know that it's coming from an older woman, which, is kind of going off one of the Julie customs. So that that's what I want to tell you about. We might start singing more of her songs. Remember way back in December, on the 13th and 14th, remember that, Jill was here when, well, no, she wasn't here. But she was here in spirit. Remember, she was there in spirit as we went to go to Applebee's on Friday night. And, I could, picture, my stomach probably really hurting, and then, kind of taking off the things of cancer, which are more appropriate for the wintertime. Chamomile tea. If you think about, which is really cancerian. If you think about chamomile tea, if you think about foods like, I don't know, chicken noodle soup, all those types of things. But so anyway, the next day, well, during that time, we were watching the newest season of Dance Moms. And I didn't find out until mid-April that there were full episodes. So I wish that I found that out way back in December. But, so anyway. So, now that I have addressed all of that information, the next thing that I want to talk about is my visitation. Any visitation that is a beloved visitation in one form or another form. It might be, really, really small. And when I say beloved, I don't mean the extreme thing. Now, I don't remember. It's a very, very faint memory. I don't know what I was doing, what was going on, but Abby was in my dream. And it was really, really interesting because I was very, you were a very, very interesting person because, when we, on TV, when we really don't like you and really, really, disagree with, how you do things, and we, get angered by what you say, what you do, all that kind of thing. But that's how I was feeling. Like, I was thinking to myself, stop bothering me, stop pushing me. I don't want to heal it, but at the same time, I wanted to heal it, and I was, charmed, and I felt like that there was someone who was, there, caring and, helping, kind of the spirit of, um, of Abby there. Now I want to talk about, and I know we were thinking, how am I remembering all this stuff? So, I want to, that's something that we didn't talk about, is a Menton spirits. I want to talk about that new, little concept here. So, a Menton spirits. One of those Menton spirits, because you're definitely a person where, you can stick in, your head and all kind of thing. So Menton spirits. So remember that it was, I think it was February 18th. February 18th. On that day, I asked you to think of and hold on to and to try to feel a spirit. Try to imagine a spirit, or try to imagine someone being there. So for me, because Frozen 2 was coming out, it would have been Idina Menzel and what was that Kristen Bell. So as I was teaching, because remember I was a teacher over there, before COVID rocked the world, but I was imagining, I could feel, that I was imagining that Idina Menzel was there watching, over me, and looking at me and participating, there in every other class that I had, and then every even number class, which they last for, periods, if you think, how the system works, then Kristen was there. So, 2, 4, 6, and 8, Kristen was there, and periods 1, 3, 5, and 7, Idina Menzel was there. Which is really fitting, because those signs, Idina has an odd number sign, Kristen has an even number sign, so that worked out. So, it was winter time, and at that time I was feeling kind of a lonely feeling, kind of a depressed, blah, kind of sad sort of feeling, and I wanted a love that would be a nurturing love, not the kind of, laboring, love, or, a, fanical relationship with Callison. So it was a different, contrasting relationship. That casual relationship with Zach, then when Deborah Silverman came here, missing element of more, I want to use the word motherly and nurturing. That was the type of emotional bond I wanted from, additionally, someone else at that time. It's a very nurturing, one-on-one, lifting up, caring, kind, empathetic, someone to talk to. I felt like that someone's spirit was there watching over me, and it was a great comfort. So that was a very, very imaginative, day where, remember, Aquarius, Pisces, cusp. Remember, Aquarius and Pisces are very, very similar signs. They take you out of the world. But while Aquarius is more airy and flighty, Pisces is airy and flighty, but it's more romantical and more emotional. But Aquarius and Pisces are very, very similar signs if you really look at them. Or, if you put two signs together, one after the other, they're very, very similar. They're very, very different, but they are also similar. there was a contrast, but there was, if you're thinking about a Venn diagram, this one thing over here, one thing over there, where they meet in the middle. So if we're thinking, I want to bring this back to Libra Scorpio. So while Aries and Taurus is the tortoise and the hare, how many of you read The Tortoise and the Hare by Aesop's Fables? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Yes. Yeah. So if you think about it, I think that if you know what they're about, then I think that you can place them in the astrological roles. But the tortoise and the hare, prove that, that the hare is like fast and very, very strong, really, competitive, and very, kind of, cocky in a way that, if I'm faster than I can win the race. But Taurus, get the similarities in the word, is really slow moving and likes to take his time. So I think that you can really see why one thing that we're going to be looking at is the contrast between one sign next to another sign. And something from a story or some type of archetype that you could put on, that you could say for one sign and then the next sign. So, the archetype for Aries and Taurus is the tortoise and the hare. Taurus and Aries. Aries is the hare, Taurus is the tortoise. Now, opposite of that, if you think about Libra and Scorpio and the contrast between those, let's talk about that first. So what would be a good contrast? Because they're very, very different. Libra has almost no low roads, probably save for its sometimes manipulative, indecisive ways, but that's about it. Scorpio, however, is like steak. If you think about steak, it can either be very, very good, cooked, absolutely right, or it can be tough, or, raw. So, that's the kind of, analogy that I, want to make about Scorpio. But can somebody tell me what a good contrast, if you're thinking about Libra and Scorpio, what would that be? Can somebody tell me? Okay, the good love with the bad lover. Okay. Explain. I want to hear what your thoughts are on that. Yeah. Yep, definitely. So while Libra is airy and there's a coolness and eagerness in Libra interactions and wanting the, social stimulation and meet people for the kind of, how they have, you kind of, and this is inappropriate, but so be it. How they have their, sexual relationships is more airy, more looking at people, people's faces in the eye, talking to them, hearing how they sound, learning about them, knowing what they have to say, that connection. Because, humans are, social creatures one way or another. All the signs are social in their own way. While Scorpio needs that security and wants to, get really, really deep and very, very, emotional and all that kind of thing. So, we're going to talk about the flavor of Scorpio. But when I think of Scorpio, I think a good image that comes to mind is Bad Janet. For a really random reason from The Good Place. So Good Janet, I looked up her birthday, and it was January the 4th, which is Capricorn, if you couldn't tell. Remember that she was here not last September, but September 2019, where we had, the resemblance prayer. And remember, we sang I'll be your candle on the water, which is Cancerian. Again, going with the February 18th day. Remember that we had that resemblance prayer. So Bad Janet for Scorpio. I would say generally the contrast between Libra and Scorpio. I would have to say the light and the dark. Libra's the light, Scorpio is the dark. Venus is the planet of love and beauty and affection and, what you value most. Pluto is the dark lord, the dwarf planet. If you're thinking about, vengefulness, Scorpios can hold a grudge and sting at their lowest road. But then again, I don't agree with putting typecasting signs. But Pluto is, the planet of, destruction and transformation, in a bad way, of course. Death, rebirth, that kind of cycle, all of those types of things. So, the occult, the indivisible world, and I think that one of the things that we're going to be looking at during Scorpio season is I Survived. And I'm questioning whether we're going to be watching those episodes because they are... I don't really know about that because the content in the episodes is